Hi, this is Esther with Discover Your Origins. In this video, I'm moving along on the Langford Descendancy Project, and we're going to start looking at another person. So here's James Langford. This is my starting point, and he's married to Nancy Bell, and I've worked through William, Susan. Asa, I really couldn't find anything for, so I had to skip him. These dates are speculative. Nancy married Tyre Snellgrove, and some of my previous videos you've seen me work on her. I've been working on James Ray. I feel pretty confident about him because he is mentioned in his father's will, and his wife and his 2 children. He also has a will naming his 2 children. So I feel pretty confident about this, and I've been working on the descendancy. James Thomas didn't have any children, and so I'm just working through the children and descendants from William C. Langford. So for this video, I'm going to go ahead and move forward to the next child, and that would be Joab. And so let's take a look and see. So Joab, I don't have any sources at all. I'm imagining these dates probably came from FamilySearch. And so let's jump over there and see what we've got over there. Okay, so here's Joab in FamilySearch. We've got a birth date and a death date, so that's probably where I got those dates. No spouse, no children. So I may not get very far on this one either, but there is a source attached to him, so let's take a look. All right, so we have a Joab Langford with a K. And that might be okay. I mean, I've seen it spelled both ways in the records, but let's look a little bit closer. Okay. So this says Joab Langford. So this is for, let's see, the 1880 census. So he would have been about 64 years old, which is about what this says. Born in South Carolina, married, and living in Whitfield County, Georgia. Whitfield County is in the northwest part of the state. So it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for somebody from South Carolina to move to Whitfield. And here's the wife, Matilda Langford. And so Matilda is not listed as a wife on this profile, but you can see over here that there are similar records to a Captain Joab Langford. So then the question is this Joab that's in FamilySearch as a son of James Langford actually this Captain Joab Langford? So we need to go and look at this other Langford. So let's go to his person page. Oh, okay, this took us to the 1850 census records. Let's go forward. It does seem to be a match, though. I mean, there's a Matilda and there's some children here. There's a Martha Langford. So I'd have to take a look at that, but let's look. All right, we get there. All right, so here is Captain Joab Langford. It says he was born in Marietta, Greenville, South Carolina. He died in 1888 and he's buried in the Dalton Whitfield, Georgia. So here in the timeline, it's mostly in Georgia. So this seems okay. Born in Greenville, and his parents are actually a little bit different. So my Joab has a James and Nancy as parents, and this is a Henry and Tabitha. And then, okay, here's Martha and Willis Washington are his siblings. Let's look at the tree, because the Langfords that I've been working with have been in Saluda, Lexington County, South Carolina, and these are from Greenville, South Carolina. So, so there's not much here. If we look at the children, there's just those 3 children. But we've got Captain Joab Langford, son of Henry, and that's pretty much it. So let's go back and let's look at Joab again. So here's a Joab Langford in 1880 with Matilda. Okay, this is that same census record, so it's a little strange for it to be connected to that my Joab Langford. All right, let's go back to my Joab Langford, son of James and Nancy. And he has this Joab Langford census of 1880 attached to him. And it's that same one that's attached to this Captain Joab Langford of Whitfield County, Georgia, which is what this is. So I think this is probably incorrectly attached. Before I detach this record, let's look at the locations that we've mentioned here. We'll look at Lexington, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and Whitfield, Georgia, just to see the distances. So here's Lexington. Let's add Greenville, South Carolina. Let's see how far we are. Ooh, that's 100 miles away. Let's add Whitfield County, Georgia. Okay, that may not be the most direct route, but that's because we've got Lexington in there. So let's take out Lexington. Lexington's over here by Columbia, South Carolina. Let's take that out and just see. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. To get to Whitfield County from Greenville, it's possible back in the day they would have traveled through this national forest, but this road here goes down through Atlanta and then up north to Whitfield. And it's about 200 miles. I mean, that's still a pretty good journey either direction, and actually they probably would have gone through Atlanta so they could have resupplied and gone north. And part of what was going on in Whitfield is they were building railroads in this area prior to 1880. I mean, in 1850, they were building railroads and roads. It was pretty rough country at that time. So by 1880, I don't know what the condition of the roads were, but Whitfield area, Dalton in particular, was a booming town. There was a lot of things going on, particularly with the railroad. But with Lexington County clear over here, and Batesburg, Leesville, that's another location. Saluda, those are locations where my Langfords were that I've been working on. Some were over here in Edgefield. So Greenville's pretty far out of the way. So I think this is probably was added incorrectly as a source, and so I'm going to detach it. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and detach that. And now we're back to not having any sources, which is always concerning, is because where did this come from? We've got some birth and death dates. Let me go look at this Captain Langford again. So we have 1816 to 1888. So I don't know, where these dates came from. They were put in 2013. Who knows? So let's go back to James Langford here, and we'll go back over to Ancestry because we've got the will. So let's look at the will for James Langford. Let's make this bigger. And of course, going back through here and looking at this, the writing is always difficult to read. So, all right, so here in this first paragraph, I give and bequeath unto my beloved sons, William B. Langford, James Langford, and John F. Langford, all my lands. So there's not a Job here. And it doesn't mean that there wasn't a Job. It just means that he wasn't alive when this will was being executed. So either he was a child born and died, or he's not a child of this couple. It's hard to say which of those two things are true in this case. And then also we have here mentioned that it's near the Saluda River. So we've got, the locations again. So another thing we can do, and I'm going to go back to FamilySearch and just look and see if any of the Langford descendants have a child named Job. All right, so let's go back up. So I know that William Langford, he did not have a child named Job. And the reason I'm looking at this is because oftentimes descendants would be named for relatives. So an uncle that may have died, very possible. I don't have anything on Asa. And then James Ray, still working on him, but he doesn't have a child named Job either. We can look at Julius Snellgrove here and see if there's a child named Job. There's not. Okay, John Harmon. All right, so we're pretty well stuck then on Job. So I'm going to go back. Probably the best thing to do at this point is because we've detached the source record that was wrong, is just come in here and say, there's no sources, this is speculative, that kind of thing. You can do that here with add note. And I'll probably just say, what are the sources for this child? It doesn't seem to fit. It's not mentioned in the will, that kind of thing. And then I'll also make a note in Ancestry and say that this child came from the listing on FamilySearch. There's no sources. It's speculative. So anyway, I won't make you watch me write that note, but it can be a little frustrating when you're working in FamilySearch trying to sort out what is correct and not. It's really important to take a close look at the source records, use maps, use common sense, ask the question, does it make sense? This case, again, the attached source record didn't match, and so it needed to be detached. Doing a search for additional records, I've tried to do a little bit, and I'm not finding anything, so pretty good chance that if this is an actual child of James Langford, that he died as a child, possibly. He's just not there when the will is adjudicated. So we're just going to probably leave this out as it is for right now. And until I can view the book on the Langfords of South Carolina, there's not much more I can do at this point with this. So I will finish this up, and next time we'll move on to another child of James Langford. I hope that was helpful. We'll see you next time.